fantasy drafts quickly approaching in the next few weeks and the season within a month. He is the third pick overall. I did in a mock draft to break down and talk strategy. So third pick overall in this mock draft, Saquon Barkley, he fell to me third overall, and arguably he could be the number one pick going into fantasy drafts this season. After coming off a 2,000-yard season, I don't think he'll get 2,000 yards once again. Is Barkley? It's a very tough feat to do, and obviously only a few running backs in NFL history has done it, but he's in an explosive offense. He's going to get a lot of opportunities. He's a workhorse, and to get him in number 3 overall, I think is a good spot with Barkley. Like I said, easily could go 1 or 2. Then in the second round, Kyren Williams, he was there, and I like Kyren Williams. If you watch the other video, I got him as well, Kyren Williams, and he just signed 3-year, $33 million extension. So a lot of people thought Kyren, he might take a back seat a little bit, give up some touches with Blake Corum and other running backs they've drafted over the last couple of years. But now with the extension, it's obvious he's going to keep getting the touches. I know he's a smaller running back, but he's put up the numbers over the last 2 seasons, and it's going to be open up boxes, I think, as well, where teams, they got to worry, obviously, about Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams instead of Kyren Williams, pretty much, where I think only 7-8 guys at most will be in the box at times. Then third round, Tyreek Hill, and I like his value a lot. He's one of the more valuable players, especially his ADP-wise, Tyreek Hill, going late second, early third round. It's in most fantasy drafts. I know last season he didn't get to 1,000 yards. It was a down year for Hill, banged up. Off the field stuff as well with Tyreek, no doubt about it. And Tua, he missed the majority of the season. But as long as Tua's healthy and Tyreek obviously stays focused, he could put up numbers. And we know every year he's easily could be a top 10 player when it's all said and done. So to get him in the third round with his upside still, Tyreek Hill, even though he could lose a step or two, or he's at the latter part of his prime, Tyreek, I still think he could go out there and help fantasy owners in a big way. Then the fourth round, I got DK Metcalf. So after starting with the 2 running backs to get going, I went 4 wide receivers in a row. And Metcalf, he's the number 1 over there. First season in Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback. I know last season wasn't a great year in Seattle for Metcalf, and I think he just needed to change the scenery. And now we got the big payday in the offseason, and there's no one else pretty much over there in Pittsburgh in the passing game. So DK Metcalf, he's going to be the number 1. He's going to get peppered with targets. I know they traded for Jonnu Smith at the tight end position. I know in the backfield, obviously, you got Jalen Warren, who's a good receiver, and the rookie Caleb Johnson as well. But I think DK Metcalf is a number 2 receiver. Third option isn't a bad option at all for fantasy owners, especially if you went early at running back like I did. In the 5th round, once again, another wide receiver, former Pittsburgh Steeler, George Pickens. Maybe I reached for him a little bit, but I just needed to load up the receivers. And I say this a lot, that I want at least 4 solid receivers in the first 7-8 rounds of my fantasy drafts, where if I got a guy on the bench, he could come in with injury, or if he's out playing my flex option or whatever. So Pickens, first season in Dallas, contract year, got traded in the offseason. And defenses, he's going to get a lot of one-on-one coverage. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb, one of the best wide receivers, lining up with Pickens this season. So I think Pickens, he could have a good season in Dallas. He's a speed wide receiver. He makes acrobatic grabs and a lot of big plays. And I think this year with the Cowboys, where he's going to get that one-on-one coverage, he will have a solid season. Then Rome Odunze, in the 6th round, I went Odunze. He's the number 2 wide receiver going into the year behind DJ Moore. Last season, obviously, Keenan Allen was there with the Chicago Bear team. But Rome Odunze now, like I said, number 2 wide out. He was an early pick in the NFL draft last season with Caleb Williams. And I think in the second year, this offense takes the next step. Caleb, obviously, in his second year, and obviously Rome Odunze now get more playing time. Jalen Warren, I took in the 7th round. Like I said, he's going to be a receiving back. Him and Johnson, they're most likely going to split work in the backfield for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. And with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, it's going to help a little bit. I know Rodgers, he's definitely lost a lot. He's in his 40s now as Aaron Rodgers, is most likely his last season of his NFL career. But obviously, he can't be any worse than the quarterbacks we've seen them trot out there over the last couple seasons. I think Warren is a backup running back, and my third running back is a good option where he's good for PPR. He's going to get a lot of work, I think, Warren, especially early in the season, and go out there and make plays. 8th round, Juwan Jennings, he's going to start the year as a starter, obviously. Brandon Ayuk, I don't believe he's going to be ready for week 1. We know they got Ricky Pierce, so Deebo Samuel, they traded away to the Commanders in the offseason, is his 49er team. And Juwan Jennings, he did request a trade earlier in the offseason. He wants to get paid. And we saw last season, he had some big games, including a ball game, over 180 yards, and found the end zone 3 times. Purdy locked in. Him and Jennings have a good rapport going back many seasons to the second unit with his 49er team. And to have Jennings come off the bench as my 5th wide receiver, that's good depth, obviously, and he's a player that could go out there and make plays. Then the 9th round, I went Jared Goff. Big season last year for Jared Goff, it was. No doubt about it. When you got great weapons, obviously, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams finally had the breakout season, Sam Laporte and Jahmyr Gibbs, a great receiver out of the backfield. I think Goff, to get him in the 9th round, is great value, where he easily could go for over 4,000 yards and 30 passing touchdowns. Obviously, you're not going to get the rushing upside with Goff, but he could go out there many weeks and go for 300 yards and 3 TDs. So to get him in the 9th, I like the value. 10th round, Jerome Ford, to me right now, he's the starting running back. Jukins, he's had off the field problems already before training camp even started. And Sampson, another young guy as well, who's going to be working for reps in this backfield. But Jerome Ford, he's been a player that's been decent in PPR, from 12 to 15 fantasy points when he's gotten some decent workloads. To get Jerome Ford late in the draft here, 10th round, and to be my number 4 running back, I like it at this position. Then 11th round, Roschon Johnson, obviously he's going to try to get more work where they didn't make any moves in the running back room. Is a spare team with DeAndre Swift being the starter going to the season. But Roschon, he got some short yardage. He got some goal line work last year. And I think this season we could see a little bit more, where DeAndre Swift was up and down in his first year with the Bears. So Johnson is a late round sleeper flyer. I like it. Then I went Darren Waller. I punted the tight end position. Waller, we know he came out of retirement this season, where after they traded Jonnu Smith, they made a deal with the New York Giants to get the rights to Darren Waller. And Mike McDaniel said he's in shape, but not in game shape, but should be ready for week 1 is Darren Waller. So I took a late round flyer. We know the upside of Waller throughout his NFL career. And obviously, he tried outside things. It didn't work for him. And now he's back, and he's here with the Miami Dolphins, where I believe he still could go out there and make some plays. And if you do punt the tight end position, you see here in the 12th round, I got Darren Waller at the spot. And to close out the draft, I got the rookie Jaden Higgins. Tank Dell, he's out for the season for this Houston Texan team. And Higgins, so far in training camp, he's lining up on the outside. He's a number 2 wide receiver with Christian Kirk in his natural position at the slot. So these last couple rounds are where you take flyers on young players or guys you think have potential upside. So Jaden Higgins, like I said, he was the 34th pick overall in the NFL draft. He's going to get a lot of playing time, I believe, in the early going out of the get-go, where, like I said, he's starting in camp. And to take a flyer at a guy with big potential possibly, I like the move. So the final roster with the 3rd pick, Jared Goff, a quarterback, I think he's going to be fine once again this season. Good value in the 9th round. Tyreek Hill, my number 1 wide receiver, I think he could bounce back. DK Metcalf with Aaron Rodgers, even though Rodgers definitely lost a step and is at the end of his NFL career, still could get the ball out there. And we saw Garrett Wilson and Adams last season have good years. Saquon Barkley, to get him 3rd overall, I like the position, where I think he's an easy top 2 pick going into fantasy drafts. Kyron Williams signing the extension, the work's going to be there. He's not going to take a back seat or give up some of the workload to anyone. Darren Waller, I know he was off a year, but to get him in the 12th round with his potential still, where he was one of the better tight ends for many seasons in fantasy football, I took the risk after I punted the position. George Pickens, first year in Dallas, going to get a lot of one-on-one coverage. Dak Prescott's arguably the best quarterback he's played with in his NFL career, and it's a contract year as well. Then Roma Dunze to come off the bench. It could be a breakout year for Dunze, entering his 2nd season with this Bear team and now becoming a starter with Keenan Allen. Obviously, they didn't bring him back in free agency. Then Warren come off the bench. Him and Johnson, they're going to split carries most likely. And Warren, one of the better PPR running backs in the league. Jawan Jennings on the bench, solid wide receiver last season, put up big numbers. And obviously Brandon Ayuk, he's going to be out for most likely the first few weeks of the season. Deebo Samuel traded away to the Commanders, so a good depth piece. Jerome Ford, as of now, to me, he's the starting running back for this Cleveland Brown team. So to have him for running back, I think it's solid. Roschon Johnson, late round sleeper, possibly could take over as the year goes on for the Chicago Bear team in the backfield. So I think to get him late, it's good value. And Jaden Higgins, he could be a lottery ticket. Obviously, he's going to be starting with Tank Dell out for the season. I know they brought Christian Kirk in, but Higgins right now in training camp lining up. And he was an early 2nd round pick for a reason. So that's 3rd pick overall and the team I drafted. And I think I got some decent upside. And obviously, to go with Saquon Barkley and Kyron going into the year at running back, that's very strong entering the 2025 fantasy football season.